Hi, I'm here to show you, this is part one. I had to film this video in parts. This is part one of this week in the craft room. And I have all of these cards that I have, well, I'll show you. I've got some cards in here that I didn't make this week, but they're in here for a reason. So I will point that out when I get to those. So I'm going to move these to the side first because this pile is something kind of different. And this pile is the cards I made, and I don't have them in the card order, is the cards I made from Kendra's card challenge. I was inspired by Jamie's video that she made last week, towards the end of last week, doing Kendra's card challenge, and I was inspired to do that, so I printed everything off and set to work making these cards. I will have Kendra's YouTube channel linked down below, and then you can find where to get all of that information. I'll have Jamie's channel linked down below. She used the Paper Pad Club of the month to create that set of cards. So anyhow, I am using from the Not Too Shabby Shop, I am using the Paper Pad and Ephemera Cool Treats. So that was in her first quarterly release, and that was back in April, and it's still available. She made sure that, you know, since it was going to be a quarterly release, she ordered enough that it was it wouldn't sell out quickly. So anyhow, so here are my 15 cards. And these cards, if you'll remember, I alluded to in a previous video that I was making cards for a friend of mine, had asked me to make some cards for her. I just think this is absolutely precious. She corresponds back and forth with her great grandchildren that live in another state. So I am delivering these cards to her today. So today, the day I'm filming this. So I had to get this filmed so I didn't lose the cards. So anyhow, so here is one of the cards. Kendra's card challenge. You cut up 6 pieces of paper using a guide, and it makes 15 cards. So these first ones are for, she has 2 great-grandsons and 1 great-granddaughter. So these first ones are for the boys. And I finished off all the inside of all of the cards. They've got scraps of paper on the inside of all of them. And this was so much fun to do. My mojo has just come flooding back. So I'm so excited. I can't be in my craft room enough. Okay, so that's the end of the boy cards. And then these are the girl cards. I made less of the girl cards for the ice cream because I already have that I showed last week. I already have, actually this goes this way. The sentiment is kind of on its side. Anyhow, all of the strawberry cards that I had made in a previous video were girl cards for her. I just love how these turned out. I will definitely be making another set for Kendra's card challenge. This was one of the, and one thing I kind of altered some of these cards because I like for my cards, I don't like a naked card. That's what I call it. And I like for them to have a card panel. Now, this card did call for a card panel, but it called for, you know, you to make your own with embossing or a stencil or something like that. And I pulled out my stencil paste that I haven't used in forever to make this card. And then, like, this was an example. This card didn't call for this back panel, but I used you know, I pulled something out and a die and cut a back panel for it because I like my cards to have a panel. So those are all the Kendra's Card Challenge cards. So I'm going to set those to the side. Okay, I am back sooner than I thought. And I had forgot that I had pulled out these 3 cards to go with other donations because they were just, because I had enough for my friend. So anyhow, this is one of the cards. So I only had 12 Kendra cards here. So here's the last 3. This card, note to self, or a tip. If you're going to do Kendra's card challenge, you need to watch her video. I didn't watch the video. I just plowed right in and went by the guide, but she tells you some tips for cutting on some of the cuts, and I didn't watch those tips, so I couldn't make this card flow like she did, so I just made a card. So this is not her design. I just took the triangles that I had cut apart that didn't fit together like a puzzle, and I just created this layout. So this is you know, from the cuts, but not one of her layouts. Okay, here's another one like that, because you got 3 cards like that because you had to cut all of those pieces. And then the last card, and this is this one card I did not put a card panel on. I felt like some white space on this one was okay. So those are the 15 cards from Kendra's Card Challenge with the other ones that I showed. Very excited about finding another card sketch, something to use every month. So, all right, I'll be back and pull these others back in. And this card, I'll let you know, this was a card that was already made. So this is kind of not in this week in the craft room. But I did pull these out because all of these cards are the cards that I am taking to my friend today. Then I have that one. This was an old Scrapping for Less stamp that I used. A Doodlebug card. And then I needed some more boy cards because I felt like I didn't have enough. So I pulled out a Echo Park paper pad that I had in my stash called, actually not Echo Park, I'm sorry, Cartabella, By the Sea. So I pulled this out, and I was only going to make 4 cards, and then I thought, nope, I'm going to smash this pad and finish it up because it had about half or less than half, and I'll finish the rest of those up that I didn't need. But I pulled 5 that I made to go with the boy cards. And I have a die that has some nautical things on it, so I used that. And then this is a old Stampin' Up! Stamp that I've had for a long time. Again, finish the inside. I love this one. Cut out the anchor in with some glitter paper. And then after I cut that out, I ink blended on it. Okay, so those I did make this week in the craft room. And then these last 4 are I pulled out to go with the girl side, and I had made those previously. So they're not going to count in the total. I don't have anything on the inside of that one. This card is a card I made last year for just promoting Doodle Pops in the Not Too Shabby shop. And then this is some old Scrapping for Less paper. And I think maybe a stamp. I'm not so sure. And then this paper was from last year. It was in a paper pad of the month in Not Too Shabby. I will link that down below if that is available. So I had 16 so far. 16, 21 cards that, nope, oh, sorry, got one more. And then I need a birthday card for my daughter-in-law, and I use the hummingbird paper from Not Too Shabby from a previous kit. I will link that down below. And I did something different on the inside. I cut out a frame and then used some of the ephemera, and then I'll just write my message inside the frame. So this card is a birthday card for my daughter-in-law. So 22 cards so far for this week in the craft room. I am on a roll. Thanks so much. And if I don't come back and I just edit this video, I've got a kind of a busy week. I'm not so sure I'll be making more cards this week, but I hope to. So I'll be back. Hello, my crafty friends. This is Teresa with Fresh and Renewed with Teresa, and I am here today with a brand new series that I will do when I have something to show and when I have time. Like I'm showing you today this, but I won't have one next week because I'll explain later on in the video. Anyhow, this is my new series called This Week in the Craft Room. So where I show you what I've done in the craft room this week, and I have a little chat with you. So I used this paper pad because I needed some little boy cards, and I used this paper pad. I only had half of the paper pad left, and I smashed it this month. I used it completely up. I still have some cards that I haven't finished that were I kind of finished up today, the ones that were easy to finish, so they could be included in this video. And then but the ones that were harder, more time consuming to finish, they will be in the next time's video. So anyhow, let's get started, and I will show you what my cards that I made with this. And then I have the second clip that will come after this one. I actually filmed it first because I had a whole bunch of cards that were going to my friend. She had asked me to make some cards for her, and they went to her, and some of these were included, and so I had to film that before I took them to her the other day. So let me show you these cards. I used the ephemera that went with the cards for most of these cards. One I didn't, because I started making them and made that one, and then remembered, oh, I think I have ephemera to go with these cards. And I didn't want it to go to waste. So I used a little scallop die that I have, and then I finished off the inside of all the cards and used up some enamel dots. Again, I used a different scallop die on this one, and that's the inside of that one. I love this saying, smell the sea and feel the sky, let your soul and spirit fly. Oh, boy, do I need to smell the sea. And then there's the inside of that one. I haven't been to the beach since last summer. Set sail for an adventure. And the inside. These little flags were in the ephemera, so they made perfect little things for the inside. Here's another one. And this one. I really like how these cards turned out. I think they're really lovely cards. And I couldn't find a sentiment that went, and I happened to have this sitting on my desk, so I just used it to stamp right there so it would have a sentiment. I really like to have a sentiment on the front of most of my cards. I rarely make a card that doesn't have a sentiment on it. And this is the one that I started with, that I you know, pulled out the stamp set that I had used the other day, and before I remembered that I had the ephemera. So, and there's the inside of that one. So let me count real quick. I didn't count ahead of time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So these go with the 22 cards that are in the next clip, and I think there were 22, and there's 9 here. So this week in the craft room, I made 31 cards. The mojo and desire to get in the craft room and get busy has just come flooding back. So I'm very excited about that. So thank you so much for watching. And like I said, there won't be this week in your craft room next Saturday. I have a real busy week. I have graduation, I have a birthday, I have a softball banquet, I have lots of stuff going on this week, and then a graduation party. And so I know that I will be able to be in the craft room a little bit, but I won't be able to film it and all. So whatever is in whatever I get done at the beginning of this week, I'll include in the following week's video. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy this little series that I'm going to do as often as I can, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye.